Hello and welcome to the DCG's development update. We are here with the platform, core, and mobile teams to give you an update what happened in the past 2 weeks. We are planning this session for 60 minutes, and we will have a dedicated Q&A session at the end. So please share your feedbacks, share your questions at the end. And also put a prefix question or Q so I know that this is something dedicated or intended to the Q&A session. Thank you very much. So without further ado, let's start with the platform teams.
Yep. And I'll give a quick overview before we start. Mostly on the first week of these 2 weeks, Ivan and Lukas were working on load tests. Paul has continued, Paul from research, now from development, has continued to work on strategies, and he'll show a little demo. Withdrawals were worked on by Igor and Konstantin. There'll also be a short demo there. And Drive ABCI, we've been working on many fixes. That was done by me, Ivan, and Igor. And Evgeny was working on the platform text user interface. XK is not going to kill me now for saying terminal. Now, finalizing withdrawals. I'll give it to you, Igor.
Thank you, Sam. Hey, everyone. Nice to see you again. So this week we worked extensively with Konstantin from Core on stabilizing interactions between Drive and Core. We had Core had some changes how quorums are forming on the RecTest network. So we identified a few issues that prevented us from testing and advancing with the feature. Also, this week we've implemented burning of identity credits when on platform side when a user withdraws the credits back to his core wallet. And basically, right now we finally having a working proof of concept of the thing, where all three components, Standard Dash, Core, and Drive, interacting together and providing the topping up identity on platform side and withdrawing funds back. I'm gonna share my screen. Yeah, thanks. Okay. So let's start. We have a simple test in platform test suite. Credit withdrawal. Where was it? So briefly, I'll explain what's going on. So at first we are funding core wallet with the 2-dash. It happens a little bit above in the code. Then we are funding creating identity with 1-dash on its balance, and then we are withdrawing half of the identity balance. Yeah, let's see what happened. What will happen? So the test reports that the wallet's initial balance is 2-dash. Then we are topping up identity and wallet balance becomes 999, slightly less than 1-dash due to fees. Same for identity, slightly less than 1 due to the credits, the fees taken on platform side. And then we're withdrawing half of the balance to the core wallet. And we have a loop of 3 seconds. Oh yeah, it's actually finalized already on my local network. So as you see after the withdrawal, right after the withdrawal, we are having identity balance decreased by amount of withdrawal. Wallet balance still stays the same for a while because core needs to process the asset unlock transaction, sorry, yes. And eventually wallet balance changes by the amount withdrawn for the platform. So this is basically for the short demo. We have a few more things to do on the withdrawal side, a few decisions to make on both Standard Dash and Drive side, and we are going to continue with that in the upcoming 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Igor. I would like to stress, though, that this is the first time that withdrawals have actually worked. So it is very, very nice to see. And big grats to Igor and everybody that helped him on the core side, namely
Yeah,
Constantine this week and Odysseus before that. And I'm sure
and
other
Lukash.
and Lukash, and yeah, so it's like a really big achievement. We showed it as this demo, not in the text user interface, because we basically very recently got it working, and we will be moving to add it to the text user interface to have slightly nicer demos. And we also something that we haven't finished there is that we haven't merged it in. So we have it working, but in TenderDash, it hasn't been merged. The changes that are needed haven't been merged in yet. And we haven't merged it in on the platform side yet either. But it works, and we just saw that it works. So, very, very big achievement there. The first
Thank you very
time.
much.
Let's remember
Indeed.
that. Let's remember that this started like a year and a half ago. So or even more, I'm not sure. So it feels pretty good to see it finally working. There's so much that's going on to make those signatures actually happen and core see those funds withdrawn. There are threshold signatures involved. There are sending of all there's sending of all those messages in TenderDash in the consensus engine. There's the verification in core. There are the special transactions. There's just so much work that is there, and it's very nice to see. Sorry, I'm going on. Balash had told me at the beginning that this meeting had to last an hour, so let's get back on track.
Thank you very much. Let's move on with Paul from research now from development. No,
No,
Ivan.
Ivan.
Ivan. Ivan from development.
Hello, guys. Thank you. So we continue to work on the load testing of the platform this sprint with Lukash. We heavily utilized our DevNet networks to perform the testing. We did a couple of fixes on the DAPI side to properly handle different situations where TenderDash could respond with different errors or not responding at all if it's overloaded or we reach the RPC connections limit. So we're not getting the internal errors from DAPI anymore. That helps us with testing. And we continue to find better params. There are multiple params that we can change. Mostly it's timeouts, the size of queues, and different other values around the system that should be adjusted to work properly together to provide the better performance in overall. So we continue to find these numbers. There are tons of issues what we found and improvements what we made on TenderDash side. So first of all, since we're dealing with the single-threaded drive, we to increase the throughput, we prioritize the the messages what are exchanging between the drive and TenderDash. It calls the ABCI protocol, application blockchain interface, I think that's how it goes. And there are some messages which are critical for consensus for block production, and some of the messages are not. Is more like the accepting new transactions to the network or query data. So to keep the network stable and keep better performance, we prioritize the consensus messages. So even if network under the huge load, the blocks should be still, the system should produce the blocks. That's the important part. And many of the tasks below are related to this goal. The next one is the fix for the mempool P2P communication. So we observed that the nodes starting to spam each other with the tons of transactions, that like broadcasting between the nodes, new transactions, and they basically the P2P channels and P2P connection between the nodes, and the important messages for consensus are stuck there. So we introduced some rate limiting for mempool. Also, we found a couple of params, consensus params for tender dash. For example, the commit timeout, and there is another one which I'm not using in our new system. I'm referring to the same block execution modification what we did in tender dash, to basically to provide to execute the transactions and calculate state in the same block, not the next block as it was before. So some of the params we found redundant and we removed them. Also, we are trying to tune P2P channels. So there is one P2P connection between the nodes, and there are multiple channels that serving different messages in this connection, and we try to tune the priorities between these messages for the same goal, to prioritize the consensus messages. So even under high load, the network will be still able to produce the blocks. Yeah, the another bug, I guess that's that what we discussed recently last week with you, Sam, regarding the locking blocks and prepare proposal. So the Lukasz found the bug there, and this like the problem with was related and proposer for the same height, he locked the block wrong one, and he's still proposing the same one. That was fixed. And the last one is the timeouts for the checktx. Checktx is a function what we're calling when transaction is broadcasted to the network, and each node verifies this transaction before it adds it to mempool, is this checktx function. And in case if we have a long P2P queue and many messages, and drive is not able to process them in time, we just reject with some timeout these requests, so they not block the P2P queue for processing. All this work was done to make the platform stable and even under the huge load. So we broadcasted about like 500 transactions per second from the client side, and we still have some issues. So network is dying after some time, and so our goal right now to make it like completely stable, even like if he cannot accept new transactions, but it should still continue to process the mempool and produce the blocks. That's what we're working on right now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Now, Paul, the floor is yours.
Hello, guys. Yeah, so I am just continuing to work on strategy, test, and platform explorer. I made a lot of progress this week. I got all of the identity operations working, like adding keys, disabling keys, withdrawals, transfers. I got the logic working, but I need to do something to add multiple identities to the program so you can send back and forth to each other. So yeah, I got that done. I got identity initialization done. So like you can register an identity to at the start of the strategy. It's basically just registering identities before doing other operations. Yeah, that was kind of complex, but I got that working for one identity. As you can see, my in progress right now is registering multiple identities. That's actually multiple identities per block. For some reason, if I try to register multiple identities in the same block, they're trying to use like the same UTXOs for the asset lock proof. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. In addition, basically yesterday and today, I spent all day just cleaning up the UI/UX. It was pretty messy, the strategy screen, and there were some just things that didn't make sense for like the user. So I made some things smoother and stuff. And then also I made it so that when a strategy finishes running, it'll print out like some results in the program, in the app. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna do a quick demo just to basically show what it's like to run a strategy, and then have the results print out. So let me see. Okay, it's sharing, right? All right, so inside the terminal user interface, we press S to go to strategies. And before you had there were literally 13 or 14 options down at the bottom here. So I separated these things into different screens. So from here, you can press N to create a new strategy, S to select an existing strategy, or D to delete. So I'm going to hit N and create a new strategy. I'll say demo 3. And here you can see basically the fields for the strategy: contracts with updates, identity inserts, operations, and start identities. So let's do an operation. So down here, I'll press O for operation to edit operations field, A to add a new one. And I'm going to go with document insert random. And then here you choose the times per block that you want to insert a random document. And chance per block, I'm going to do 0.25. Sorry, my screen is lagging. Okay. And then go back to the strategy. So what this is going to do, this operation, it's going to first register the contract that I specified on the first block, and then there's a 25% chance that it'll insert a random document to that contract per block. So if I hit R to run strategy, hit yes. Now the app is executing a task, so you can't do anything. You just have to wait. But you can check here. We have a log file where it's logging, and this is I showed last week. This was, yeah, you can see it's prepared one state transition for these blocks. Oh, wow. It actually, okay, so this
Wow, it
is,
seems like you're surprised it
result.
worked.
I am.
Oh, wonderful.
'Cause-
It's a good.
Yeah, so 30 seconds and all 5 documents were registered. So cool. Yeah, I messed a bunch of things up today with what I was trying to do with identities. So things weren't working before, but yeah, great, it worked.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When I didn't see the contract being registered. Is it because that contract already exists? Or did it register the contract when the strategy started?
Yeah, normally it would be registered in this block. So I'm also surprised. Maybe, yeah, maybe it saw. To be honest, yeah, it normally shows that it registers in this block. So maybe I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe the contract already existed?
It could be that, or maybe it registered in this block for some reason.
Okay, well, just okay. Yeah, cool. I would suggest though that we should have like maybe the information going on the screen as it's happening. So
Yeah.
in the future. But yeah, that's very nice to see. So we can now so I mean this is a very basic strategy. So very soon we'll do like really complex strategies and verify the platform's working from our text user interface. Cool.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Coming together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Why don't you
So
stop sharing your screen and yeah, let's take back over. Yes. So what I worked on mostly was helping a lot of different teams in the last 2 weeks because there was work, there was a lot of small issues that were pumping up that were coming up across various teams that I tried to help solve. But I also was really looking forward to like putting a nail into this core synchronization issues and core chain lock and getting that merged in. We still did not merge it in, but as of now, the PR should be done and finished. So it's kind of in review. The tasks are done, but the whole thing hasn't been merged in yet. It we're As of right now, I don't think that there's anything left to do. It should work. So we just got there about an hour ago, and we'll see how tests go. There was one small error that I solved like 15 minutes before the review, and now I do believe that everything should be finished. So let me kind of explain the last 3 things that I worked on here. No. The first one is the full handling of all core chain locked update gap possibilities. So what does that mean? So there's the chance that you go from core height like 100 to 101. Okay, that's not a very that's a simple situation. Then there's the chance that you go from you have a gap, and the gap is such that you don't know if the core chain lock height should be verified by the current quorum or the previous quorum. So if the gap, if there's 8 blocks before the current chain lock, this is kind of technical, but there's the situation where you wouldn't know if you should check between one set of quorums or another set of quorums, and in that situation we check both. And then there's the situation where we check the old set of quorums, and then there's the situation where we check the new set of quorums. So that was hard to kind of all figure out, but it's all done now, and so that's nice. Yes, we had talked about submit chain lock. There was an initial version of submit chain lock in core. It has since been updated. Now submit chain lock gives back the current best chain locked height. And with that information, we are able to, in one call, basically figure out if we need to wait for core to catch up if the chain locked is verified and recent, but there's no block. I mean, the block is not known by core. So yeah, I believe that this was one of the big issues that was left to solve. We had basically this solves two of the bullet points of issues that we had. And as soon as this is merged in, that will be very nice to no longer have to work on, basically. So yeah, let's move on.
And now, Evgeny.
So platform UI, we have improvements on platform side, because platform UI is basically a mirror of what happens on platform, and as well as UI improvements. So two workflows are added and hopefully working, is add identity keys and identity top-up. On platform side, it required to fix proof verification, so platform UI actually submits a state transition and then gets back a proof that it was executed, and from that proof it updates the information on the screen. And now I'll present it how it looks like. All right, so it should share, right?
It is sharing.
Great. So we're on a wallet screen. It contains our Dash wallet and identity that I registered prior to the meeting. As you can see, it's on revision 1, has 3 keys added to it, and let's try to add another one. So hit K and we choose a key purpose. Let's say it will be a decryption key, and we can select the key type. It solely depends on purpose, because some keys can be like, oh, let's go back. We can authentication. Authentication is only one type. Okay, let's not mess this up. And let's select then key type. Get this one. So it actually appears on bottom, and the identity revision is also was incremented. And all this thing happened on platform side that get back to us with a proof. So we are certain that this is all relevant now. And we may add another one. Authentication keys could be on different security levels. You can also check that. The screen didn't appear before because decryption keys could be only high or medium, so can't change anything. But here we have an additional screen. Let's say the medium, and maybe this one. So here it is, and revision also was increased. Let's see how identity top-up will behave. It's on T. So let's remember our balance. It's about 5 dash. Let's top up it. Okay, maybe 6 more. Here it is. Now it's 10 plus. The wallet, our Dash wallet, is still the same. It needs some time to process, just like Igor before showed us. Takes some seconds. Let's update it. 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Oops, I DDoSed it. It blocked me, I guess. Sorry. Anyway,
Wait, what happened?
I refreshed it too many times, trying to refresh my balance.
Inside has rate limiter.
Oh,
Anyway, okay, I'm very malicious to my local platform. It banned me. Whatever.
You can disable rate limiter, by the way, in config. So.
Well, I'm an honest man. Showed you default settings.
and just so
Oh, you
people,
see, I'm unfiltered back. Balance is now 39. So very nice. Impressive. It works. I'm impressed as well.
yay, well done.
What about top up? What about top up?
I just showed it.
Yeah, you just did a top up,
Great.
and
Excellent.
Evgeny, the proofs are all working.
Yes, it's all with proof.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. We had some
Great.
issues with identity top up, and Evgeny fixed them. So that's really nice.
Yeah, it says it's in review, but you saw it working right now. So now move it to done. Approve it.
When we budget,
I'll
yeah.
still review it. I'll review it today. Promise.
All right.
All right. Anything else you would like to share, Evgeny?
That's the current progress. So
Thank you.
I have another question for you, Evgeny. Are there any state transitions that still aren't done?
yes, I'm working on document creation. Like it works, but it's not really reliable. I need to investigate why. It's for polishing the thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought that worked though. But yeah. So yeah, we just have to verify every single state transition that the proofs are all matching and the verification all works. So that's good. Thanks, Evgeny.
Thank you, Evgeny. Ivan? Oh, no, Igor.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, so other than withdrawal this week, we also we updated Dashmate to work with the core v20.1. It was a bit challenging due to the similar reasons because of which we had issues with the withdrawals. So it's all intertwined together. So it's finally done. We also introduced minimal amount for the asset locks for identity top-up and create transitions. So now the state transition will be rejected if the amount is less than a certain value. And also, we would like to disallow to create data contracts with the empty document schemas. It doesn't really make much sense. And yeah, this one is in review right now. This is it from my side. Thank you. Handing it over to Ivan.
Thanks. Empty document schema. I think you're referencing to like without defining document types, right?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, there are a couple more issues what we fixed during the sprint. The both are in review right now. The first one, we have a state for our ABCI drive, where we keeping some information between the blocks. For example, like the current height, last committed information, and things like that. And we noticed that we're storing this the state on a disk, but when we restarting drive, we need to read it back and deserialize, and we need to provide the protocol version, but actually protocol version inside the structure. So we had to basically extract it and store it separately and read the protocol version of the state first, and then start to reading the rest of the data. So that's the fix about. And Yeah, and we also have our system data contracts. It's like DPNS, DashPay, masternode rewards. It's for masternode identities, and also for withdrawals. Those system contracts, they kind of part of the platform, and they are using for different functionality to store the data, and we create them on init chain and as initial state when we initialize the chain. And of course, those contracts should be updatable as well if in the future decide to add additional functionality to DPNS or fix something or change or like. So since our contracts already support upgrade of the version, right? So we introduced the same possibility for the system contracts. So when we change the network change the protocol version, we can switch to the next version of the system contract if it's needed. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, platform team. Now let's move on to the core team.
Yeah, awesome. Let's go ahead. So, this last kind of sprinter, we don't do sprints, but in the last 2 weeks, we released 2004. So in this version, we kind of changed how we're assigning Windows binaries right now. This resolved a lot of issues with antivirus software. Um, we have now actually ordered a certificate, a third authority issued certificate. And so the next version should be delivered with that. We haven't got that fully set up yet, but we have ordered that now, and that is kind of in progress. So hopefully there are no issues with actually getting that provisioned and getting it onto a hardware key. But 20.1.x development is still moving forward well. 20.1 is kind of a minor version. There's really a lot of Bitcoin backports. We'll see that on some later slides. But there are some other interesting features there that I've talked about previously, and we're just continuing to make some progress with. Yeah, same really with the other stuff here. We are continuing to make progress on V21, but our focus is more so on V20.1 and supporting platform team as they have issues or changes that they need in core. So I think we're good here. We can move on to the next slide, and I'm briefly going to talk about 2004 adoption progress. So about 67% on 2004. Basically, everyone's updated to v20.x. Yeah, v20.1. I wouldn't be surprised if Core wants to release that in the relatively near future. Probably would not activate the MNRR hard fork yet. That might get pushed back to 2002, but that's a conversation we'll have, and we'll kind of figure that out. But yeah, I just wanted to show here that basically everyone, 67% is huge, upgraded to 2004, and that's appreciated. And we can move on to the next slide. And here I'm also going to just quickly show, these are all the PRs that got merged in the last 2 weeks. If you take a look at them, there's a lot of backports. Just in the first couple, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the first 5 are all backports. And then the 5th one was a supporting platform stuff. So lots of backports going on. Konstantin actually had the idea to nominate Backport January. He felt that we were kind of falling behind and we weren't making as much progress as we should be making. So we've been spending a good bit of time and focusing on getting those percentages up. So I don't have a slide with that kind of spreadsheet, but you can always find that spreadsheet on our GitHub if you are curious and want to see kind of the percentages and where we're at everywhere. All right. So we can move on to the next slide, and this is going to actually be a quick, don't play it yet, but this is going to be a relatively quick, about 8-minute video that's basically a tutorial on setting up Cleopatra and then GPG validation of binaries on Windows. this is a really important thing in my opinion, and I really want to advocate for more people to do it. So this video quickly goes over kind of how to do that. And we still have 20 minutes before we're supposed to be done. So I think we are on time and Balash shouldn't be too mad at me. So yeah, go
I
ahead and
approve.
play that, and I might add some information at the end. All right, hello everyone. This is Pasta from Dash Core. Today I'm going to be walking you through how to do some GPG signature validation for the Dash Core releases. So it's really simple. It's the thing that a lot of people get kind of scared about and think it's more complicated than it is, but you got this. It's really simple. There's a little bit of setup that I'm going to walk you through, and after that, it is very simple. So first thing we're going to do is go on GitHub and go to DashPay Dash, and we're going to go down here to the latest release, and we're going to click into the latest release. So it's always good for new releases to go over to GitHub and take a look at the information here. It talks about whether it has breaking changes, it links to the release notes, talks about if it's mandatory, all of that kind of stuff. Then there's also this line here that it was signed by keybase.io/pasta with this GPG fingerprint, and this will always be the same exact fingerprint for every single release, all the way back to something like 0.16. So the next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to go over to the Windows documentation for validation, and we're going to download GPG4Win. So really we're just going to click here, go over to gpg4win.org. And we're going to download this binary here. I've already downloaded it, but just go through and download it. But that is already done, and then just run this installer like everything else. The next thing you're going to do is open Cleopatra. Cleopatra is the kind of front end for GPG4Win. And it is where you will kind of store certificates and stuff like that and certify them. So now that we've installed GPG4Win, the next thing that we're going to do is go over to my Keybase in order to get my actual GPG public key. Now there are a lot of different ways to get my GPG public key over on, so the easiest way though is just to go over to my Keybase here and click on this 79841. And that is going to be the same as right here, 7984. So if we click on that, 7984, we can copy this GPG key and go back over to Cleopatra. There are a couple of ways to do it as well, but just go ahead and paste this in here. If it'll let me paste. Okay, can I import from clipboard? Did I not copy it? Okay, that again. Go ahead and copy here. Go back over to Cleopatra. You can paste it in here and then just say import notepad. So this is going to import my public key. And from there, we're just going to quickly go back over to certificates and double click on it. And you should see a couple of identities here. My email at dashboost.org, my email at dash.org, and also this fingerprint down here. And it ends in 7984. So we're going to click update. This is going to check that the key has not been revoked or anything like that, and that everything is okay with the key. And we're going to go back to Keybase for a second while that processes. A good thing to do on Keybase is to always look at who is following me. This is a good way to kind of get assurances about the fact that this is actually Pasta. Another really good way is that I have proved my GitHub here. You can go over and take a look at my GitHub. You can see all of my contributions. You can see that I am a member of the Dash Pay organization, everything like that. You can also see that I've proved ownership of dashboost.org, and also there's a proof on the dash.org domain as well. The other things you can do is look at who follows me. So people like Kitty Whiskers and Constantine are other members of the core dev team. Eugene here follows me. Other people like Strophe, another member of DCG. And so here you can go ahead and click in and see what, if anything, they have verified. So Strophe has verified that he owns this GitHub account and this public key. The Fez is also saying that I am who I am. And again, he has claimed the Fez on GitHub, the Fez.com, and these couple of GPG keys. So this is a really good way if you want to go the extra measure and make sure that this is actually Pasta, but keybase.io/pasta is going to beat me. So now that we have that certificate imported and updated. There was one new signature on it. The next thing that we're going to do is certify it. This basically tells GPG that, just go ahead and click create here. This tells GPG that yes, this is a legitimate key that I trust. And so we're going to quickly just follow the prompts here, just click continue each time. And then it is going to say certified here. You double click on it again, you'll see full all throughout here. So the next thing we're going to do, and now all of the setup is done. You can basically forget about all of this now in the future. You don't have to do this ever again. The only thing you have to do now is go over to dash.org or wherever you get the installer. Go ahead and download the installer, wait for that to download, and then download the signature. All right, and now that those have downloaded, you're going to double click on the .asc on the signature. You're going to open that up first. It's going to open up in Cleopatra, and it's going to tell you that it verified this dashcore.exe with this .asc. It was a valid signature by Pasta at DashBoost. And again, this key is always going to end in 7984. And it is green. It says it's fully trusted, everything like that. Everything is good. You can go ahead and click onto this, and you can see that everything looks good here. Again, click update if you want, and just see that it hasn't changed. And as long as this is green, you are A-OK. So you can click through that and click OK. And now you can open up the actual installer, and you are safe to do so. So like I said, that's really easy. We're going to quickly look at what happens if you download a bad signature, let's say. So I'm just downloading one of my other signatures on a different version, but I'm going to try to validate it against the Windows version. And since they're different files, it's not going to validate. So it's going to open up like this, and you're going to get this invalid signature. The signature is invalid, bad signature. And this is when you should start getting scared. Anything that's not green, you should say, this feels wrong. Something is problematic here. And otherwise, if everything is green, you are good to go and good to install Dash. So like I said, once you get everything set up, it's really quick and easy, and it gives you really good assurance that I was the one that produced the binary. There are other ways that you could do this, looking into the actual Windows code signing certificate and making sure that it is the proper expected Windows code signing certificate. But frankly, it's a lot harder to figure out and get set up than just installing and setting up Cleopatra and GPG. So I hope that was easy enough for you, and I hope that that all made sense. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out on Discord or to the support@dash.org email, and we will help you out and get everything figured out. So, all right, thanks for that, and have a great day, guys. All right, yeah, so nice, quick, and easy video. Once you have everything set up, it's really easy. There are a lot of ways to validate stuff, but GPG has some really good benefits over other methods. GPG is open source. It's available on every single platform. It's completely decentralized. And it tells you exactly that the binary that you are running was produced by me. The Windows code signing certificate kind of does that, but nobody in the history of Windows code signing certificates has actually looked at the certificate and made sure that all of the details matched exactly what was expected. So I definitely recommend everyone who is installing Dash and actually is going to hold any money whatsoever in Dash Core to actually validate the GPG signature attached to it. So yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to talk about from course perspective, and we can move on to mobile.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Pasta. Yeah, you can move on to the first slide there. We had a good amount of rollover on the sprint as well, but or on the last sprint. We investigated asset lock transactions from V20. That was turned out to be a pretty small change, which we did as well. And again, some rollover from merging Dash Wallet changes into Dash Pay and some Uphold API changes. Coin join work continued as well. We got our first kind of round of reliability testing done. So we'll get into a second round of that, getting us closer to an alpha program on testnet soon. Can move on to iOS. So Rust libraries continued. Vladimir was on some time off there, so that continued when he got back. And then still a lot of good work going on CoinJoin. The foundational classes was completed, integration into Dash Sync. They started and finished coin selectors and memory management and tests. So really, really good progress going on there. And the same Uphold API changes that we did for Android, we had to implement for iOS as well. And then the final changes for V20 for the CrowdNode APY calculation adjustments. Coding was done, just in final review there. So that's it for mobile. Keep an eye out. Like I said, hopefully we will be starting the alpha testing for CoinJoin. There already is kind of a sign-up form that goes out in our newsletters, but yeah, if you're interested in doing that, either Android or iOS, just sign up and we'll let you know when it's ready. That's it.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move on to the Q&A session. So there are some observations which I'm going to read out, as we don't have too many questions and we have 8 minutes left. So they always say that to use the word observation instead of issues, it doesn't scare the public. Thank you very much. Observations. Also, there is a comment on Platform Explorer that we have a name clash on it. Sam, do you want to speak to that?
Yes, I do. I
Okay.
can. Yeah, we'll rename it. We're thinking of a name.
All right.
So no
We have a
problem.
proposal, Platform Strategy Tester.
Nah, it does more than that. It's probably going to be like, but we'll decide with a new name before it's like more in a releasable state and platform gets released. We'll
Thank
come
you
up
very
with a
much.
different name.
Thank you very much. One question from TL. Where do we find more about the different keys and purposes? Is it all for contract bounds? I know I see you already answered, but you want to?
Yeah, sure. I can answer very quickly. Yeah, there are different keys and purposes. They're written in DIP 11. I posted the link right underneath the comment, and it's not for contract bounds. Contract bounds is the encryption and decryption key, and that's actually not written in DIP 11. I think DIP 11 needs to be updated. I mean, it was written a few years ago. The encryption and decryption keys are basically can be per contract. So but all the other keys, the authentication keys, are at an identity level. So it's not really for data contract bounds, I mean.
Yeah, thank you very much. The links are not showing in this chat. I think it is just some.
Oh, do you not see underneath DIP 11 has
No.
that? I
No.
posted a
We
link.
don't see a links. I think it's some. It is some settings that.
Ooh. Okay, well, I mean, if you want to see, just type in Google -pay dips, and then it will show up on GitHub, and then go to DIP 11, and under the section of keys, you'll see all the key stuff.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, and we have a good feedback on the demos, that they really like it. Will there be a quiz on this later? I mean, the demos, no, there will not be. Thanks for the feedback, though. Really appreciate. A question from Slavic. Ryan, when can we see the DashPay testing program back to life?
I wish I could give you a definitive date, but that is one of our highest priorities. We got to get our Rust libraries all stood up and finalized first. That's the first step. And assuming testnet is in a stable form, then we can start it up. But yeah, I'm very anxious to get that going. But it does need to have those Rust libraries done first. So probably at least another month or so.
Thank you very much. So I don't see any further questions. Though we have some delay. Thanks for being here, joining us to this development update. Thank you for the questions and the feedbacks, and see you in 2 weeks.